Have you noticed how the mind is always in motion, thought after thought, like a river that never rests? From the moment we wake until sleep finally comes, there is a rush to plan, to remember, to fix, to become. What if, for a moment, we stopped running inside? Not by effort, not by force, but simply by seeing the movement as it is. Listen, there is a quietness behind the noise. It is not something to create. It is already here, like the stillness of the sky, behind passing clouds. Jiddu Krishnamurti once said, "Only when the mind is very quiet, not made quiet, but naturally still, can it discover what is true." This is not a method. It is a gentle invitation to observe. As you breathe now, can you feel the space between thoughts? Pause without effort, a living silence that needs no control. Stay with this question. Can peace appear when we stop seeking it? If these reflections speak to you, allow yourself to remain with them, and with the same calmness, you are welcome to follow this channel, so that each new meditation finds you naturally, without hurry, without demand. Let the words fade, and let the silence within begin to speak. Notice how the mind seems to live in tomorrow, always anticipating the next event, the next message, the next possible joy or fear. It rushes forward like a traveler who never stops to see the landscape. And when it is not running ahead, it wanders back, replaying old stories, reliving moments of hurt or brief happiness, as if the past could be reshaped by remembering. In this constant movement, is there ever a moment of real presence? A moment where life is touched directly, without the screen of thought? Pause here for a breath. Feel the air entering and leaving, without trying to control it. This simple awareness is not a technique. It is the natural intelligence of observation. Krishnamurti often said, "To observe without the observer is the highest form of intelligence." What does this mean? Usually there is the me who looks, the center that says I like, I dislike, I want. This center colors everything. But when observation is pure, when there is only seeing, the division disappears. Then the mind is no longer a judge. It is a mirror reflecting what is. Think of a quiet lake on a still morning. When the surface is calm, it reflects the sky with perfect clarity. If the water is stirred, the image breaks and distorts. Our thoughts are like wind on the lake. The more we chase an ideal of peace, the more ripples we create. Can you allow the mind to rest? Not by forcing it to be still, but by understanding its movement. Everyday life offers countless invitations to watch this movement. You may feel irritation when traffic slows you down. Notice how quickly thought reacts. This should not happen. A flash of anger, a tightening in the chest. Stay with that sensation, not naming it, not pushing it away. In that simple seeing, the energy of the reaction changes. There is a softening, or you may sense the pull of desire, the wish to buy something new, to achieve recognition, to be someone. Watch how the mind creates an image of fulfillment, how it promises happiness in the next thing. Stay with the feeling without judgment. As you observe, the image loses its power. It is seen as a projection, not reality. This is not a practice with a goal. It is a living inquiry. Each moment reveals the whole movement of thought. And in the very act of seeing, something unexpected happens. There is quiet. Not the quiet of suppression, but the quiet of understanding. Krishnamurti said, "When you see a danger as danger, there is instant action. You do not decide to move when a snake crosses your path. You simply step aside." In the same way, when the mind sees the danger of endless chatter, of comparison and becoming, it naturally stops. No discipline is required. Perhaps you ask, but how do I begin? See that the question itself is part of the movement, the desire for a starting point, a method, path. Yet truth is not found at the end of a path. It is here, in the clear light of awareness. Let's linger a little with silence. Right now, as these words fade between pauses, listen to the sounds around you, distant traffic, a bird outside, the gentle hum of a room. Notice that listening does not require effort. You are not making silence happen. You are simply not interfering. This listening is pure attention. From this attention, compassion arises. When the mind is not occupied with itself, it becomes sensitive to life in all forms. You may find yourself acting with kindness, without planning to be kind. The action flows like water from a spring. If these reflections nourish your heart, allow them to stay with you quietly, and with the same ease, you may choose to follow this channel, so that each new meditation can meet you naturally, without the push of habit. Stay with this silence a little longer. Feel how vast it is, how alive. Here begins the real discovery, not in words, but in the stillness that is beyond measure. As you remain with this quietness, you may notice how thought tries to return, like waves seeking the shore. Memories, plans, sudden questions, they appear without being invited. Do not fight them. See them as clouds drifting across a vast sky. The sky does not resist the cloud. It allows passage and stays untouched. This simple seeing is freedom. Freedom is not the choice between one idea and another. It is the absence of the chooser. When the mind no longer clings, there is space for life to unfold. Krishnamurti spoke of this when he said, "Freedom is not a reaction. Freedom is not choice. It is the pure observation without direction, without fear of punishment or reward." Can you sense what he means? Freedom is not in deciding. It is in seeing. Each day offers opportunities to discover this. You may feel the push of urgency, to answer messages, to meet deadlines, to solve problems before they even exist. Notice how the body tightens, how breath becomes shallow. Do nothing but observe. In that gentle observation, the pressure softens, and action, if needed, becomes simple and direct. There is also the subtle rush of wanting to become better, more spiritual, more peaceful, more successful. The mind imagines a future self and begins to chase it. See how this chase is still the old pattern of time. One day I will arrive. But can truth wait for time? Isn't the very idea of becoming the seed of endless unrest? Listen to the world around you now. A bird call, the soft vibration of air. Notice that reality unfolds only in this instant. Yesterday is a memory. Tomorrow is an image. Life is here, in the living silence of this very breath. When the mind is deeply quiet, action springs from clarity, not from compulsion. It is like a tree that grows toward the light, without any plan, or like a river finding the ocean, without a map. Such action is whole, untouched by fear or ambition. Perhaps you wonder, if I do not plan or strive, will I become passive, indifferent? Look closely. The silence we are speaking of is not dullness. It is intense, alive, like a flame that illuminates without smoke. From this stillness, care and intelligence express themselves naturally. It is not laziness. It is the highest form of action. Sometimes you may experience sudden insights, a flash of understanding, that the past cannot be changed, that the future is only a projection. In that instant, the heart feels light, as if a burden has dropped. Stay with that lightness without trying to hold it. The attempt to keep it turns it into memory, and the mind starts chasing again. Let each insight be like a bird landing and flying away. Krishnamurti often reminded us, the ending is the beginning. To end a thought completely is to allow freshness to appear. When one moment dies fully, the next is born free. This is real renewal, beyond time. As you sit or walk later today, try listening without the filter of naming. Hear the rustle of leaves, without calling it tree or wind. See a face, without the story of who that person is. This is not neglect. It is meeting life as if for the first time. In such meeting, love is natural. Not the love of possession or memory, but a love that is pure attention. If at any point these words resonate, let them simply rest in you. And with the same effortless flow, you may choose to subscribe or share this channel, not as a duty, but as a quiet gesture that allows others to discover this space of silence. Now allow a longer pause. Notice the subtle hum of existence. In this vast awareness, There is no center, no boundary. You are not separate from the sound of rain, from the breath of the earth, from the stars that shine unseen. This is not an idea to believe. It is a living fact to sense directly. Let the mind be like an open field at dawn, where every movement of life is welcome, and nothing is held. This is the end of the mental rush, not through control, but through understanding. And in that understanding, a profound peace unfolds, not as something achieved, but as what has always been. Stay quietly with this, letting each word fade like ripples in still water, until only the silence remains. There is a moment when watching becomes pure, when observation is so complete that there is no observer. It may come suddenly, while listening to rain, or in the quiet of early morning, when the mind has not yet begun its habitual race. In that instant, the division between me and what is dissolves. There is only awareness itself, boundless, alive. No effort brought this about. It is not the result of practice. It comes when effort has completely ended. Krishnamurti said, "Truth is a pathless land. To reach the timeless, there can be no path, no method, no tomorrow. Only a mind that sees the fact instantly can step into the immeasurable." See how deeply this changes everything. Until now, the mind has lived in becoming, seeking, controlling, wanting to reach some imagined peace. But the very act of seeking is the movement of time, and time is conflict. When the movement stops, not because you force it, but because you understand it, there is a different dimension of living. This is the ending of psychological time. Not the clock's time, you still meet a friend at an hour, but the inner time of I will be. When that ceases, each moment stands whole, like a jewel reflecting infinite light. Stay with this discovery. There is no separate self to protect or perfect. Fear, which depends on the future, loses its foundation. Desire, which feeds on images of tomorrow, has no soil to grow. What remains is a vast, luminous silence. That is itself love and intelligence. Do you notice how different this is from control? In control, there is tension. Here there is relaxation without laziness, a clarity that moves like a breeze through open space. From this silence, action is effortless. Words, gestures, decisions arise without conflict, like flowers opening to the sun. Perhaps you sense a question forming. Can this state last? But that question belongs to time again. It is the mind seeking security in duration. See it and let it go. This living silence does not need continuity. It is always new, like the first breath of morning air. From here, compassion is natural. Not the calculated compassion of duty, but the spontaneous care of a heart that knows it is not separate from the other. You may find yourself listening more deeply, speaking more gently, acting with an intelligence that has no motive. If this insight touches you, allow it to expand quietly. You might feel inspired to share this meditation, so that others, too, may discover the stillness beyond striving. Do it only if it flows from the same silence, without pressure, without the noise of reward. Remain with the simple fact: the end of the mental rush is not the end of life. It is the beginning of real living. Here, every leaf, every breath, every human face is seen in its sacred freshness. Nothing is repeated. Everything is whole. Let this understanding settle like evening light. No conclusion, no final word. Just the gentle presence of what is. As this meditation draws to a close, stay with the quiet that is already here. Notice the space between sounds, between one breath and the next. It is not an empty space. It is alive, like the still depth of a forest, or the open sky at dusk. There is no need to gather these words as knowledge. Let them dissolve, the way twilight fades into night. What matters is not the memory of ideas, but the direct seeing of this very moment. The mind may wish to name it peace, silence, truth, but reality is beyond every name. Like the ocean, cannot be held in a cup. Perhaps as you sit here, you sense that this stillness is not separate from daily life. It will walk with you as you wash dishes, speak with a friend, or listen to the wind at your window. Each simple act can unfold from this quiet center. That is not a center at all. Krishnamurti often reminded us that the ending of thought's restless movement is the beginning of a different order of living. Not a conclusion, but a fresh opening, a freedom that renews itself moment to moment. If this meditation has touched something deep in you, allow it to continue gently. And if you feel inspired, you are warmly invited to subscribe to this channel. Leave a comment about the quiet discoveries you experienced here and share this video so that others may also find a pause. Amid the noise of the world, let this be a natural gesture, flowing from the same silence we have explored together. Now let the words fade, and let the vast stillness remain. Listen to the subtle hum of life, the heart beating, the earth breathing. Here, in this boundless presence, nothing is missing, everything simply is. Remain with this, without seeking an ending. The meditation does not truly stop, continues as the living silence of each step, each breath, each moment beyond thought.